Learn from an attorney how bullies are addicts, what they're addicted to, and how to stop them from binging on you or someone you love. Kids, get your parents. They need to see this. Hi, I'm Stacey Storino, an attorney since 1998, certified life coach since 2015, and the leader in legal coaching that turns people into effective advocates for themselves and their loved ones when they're bullied, special needs, or both. Woman 101 stands for wisdom that turns victims into victors. Now, let's get down to how bullies are really addicts and what you can do when faced with such a person. Stay tuned until the end of the video so that you can learn about a method to stop bullies after all else fails. Yep, there is a method. Bullies are addicts, plain and simple. Let's define what bullying is so that we understand what they're addicted to, and then we'll discuss how to get them to stop binging off of you or someone you love. The classic consensus definition of bullying is unwanted, intentional, aggressive behavior that involves a real or perceived power imbalance that is repeated over time. There's a big difference between bullying and horseplay, or a rough interaction between two students that's just really a one-time thing. I've done a video about that kind of difference, so be sure to check that video out. In the meantime, now that we know what bullying is, let's explore how bullies are addicted to bullying, which means that they're not going to stop bullying you just because you ignore them or you keep hoping that they go away. I've done another video that discusses how bullies are made and not simply born. So that vid is another must-see to kind of lay down the foundation for what I'm discussing here. That said, bullies are doing what they're doing to create an imbalance of power between themselves and their victims so that they can extract significance and social currency or standing. They can also vent out their frustrations on an innocent party. They can also get a sense of relief as they do that venting, and all of this can lead to a great deal of pleasure on the bully's part. Human beings always want to get out of pain and into pleasure. It's just something that's hardwired into our systems as the beings that we are. And that's exactly what bullies are getting when they attack their victims. Even if it's just for a short time, they're out of their own personal pain and gaining pleasure at the expense of someone else. But here's the thing. They become addicted to the entire experience. Then it's hard for them to stop. Do you think that sounds stupid? Wait just a second. Those that are addicted to drugs and alcohol are abusing those substances to get out of pain and experience pleasure, right? Think about it. And you can't just yell at an addict of any kind, drugs, alcohol, bullying, etc., and expect for them to stop just because you yelled. So just like with someone who is engaging in substance abuse, fighting with a bully does nothing if you're the bullying victim. If nothing else, it just fans the flames of the addiction and just makes everything burn hotter. And simply yelling at a bully addict, if you're a teacher, administrator, or any kind of adult really, does nothing either. You can't threaten an addict into cleaning up their act. You also can't guilt shame them to get them to break their addiction to substances or bullying either. Look, I'm an attorney, and I can tell you from experience, you can drag someone addicted to substances, let's say, before a judge, and the judge can court order rehab, jail, even both, and those addicts do not change just because they sit in jail or mark time through rehab. In a way, we're putting lipstick on a pig when we force feed stuff like that to an addict, because as soon as they're out or finished or done with the program or jail stint, boom, they're out using again. So it is with a school bully, I promise you. We can send them to juvenile detention or even jail. We can force feed them at school or in-home services or both. But here's the deal. Just like we can't let people break the law as full-blown adults without punishing them for doing so, then so it is with bullying that occurs as early as in grade school. People need to answer for their crimes. They need to be held accountable for their wrongdoings, and maybe they'll change as a result. Any addict can change if they want to, if they're ready to, if they're committed in their own hearts and minds to. Some substance abusers will fall into that category from year to year. Most won't. So it is with bullies. Some will, sooner or later, turn their lives around and quit their abuse. Statistically speaking, though, most won't. But what does this mean to you, the victim, or the person who loves a victim of bullying? If you're an adult, let's say, it does not mean that you give up or give in or both. It does mean a few things. Number one, know what you're up against. Not a normal human being, but an addict, a bully addict, someone whose life is so miserable and twisted, even if they're hiding that fact, that it does not matter what they look like on the outside. They're an ugly, tormented, full-blown rage addict on the inside. Number two, please know that ignoring them will not make them go away. Turning the other cheek on their abuse will not break their addiction. Just like those people who are addicted to drugs, let's say. There's a gateway drug. In the case of bullying, it could start out as name-calling, maybe. But then over time, if left unchecked, the addiction escalates to physical violence, which gets worse and worse over time, too. You see, the bully addict is chasing the dragon of that first high of bullying you, but sooner or later they get bored and need more titillation to enjoy the next high, that next release of pressure and gain from pain, all at the expense of their victim or victims. So the frequency and intensity of the attacks will only increase if you and your family collectively do not put your collective foot down. Otherwise, the bullying never ever just stops. Number three, if the victim tries to fight back, like name call back, hit them back, they will only make things worse. The victim is no addiction counselor. They are not equipped to properly handle that addict. That's why the victim, along with their parents, have to report the bully, not just to anyone, but to the right people. So don't fight them back at the scene of the attack. Get away to safety and report them immediately if you're the bullied student. Then insist on calling your parents and getting them involved ASAP. Number four, yes, actually report the bully, both yourself in person to as many school personnel as possible, and then in connection with your parents or guardians ASAP. Your parents or guardians must formally report all incidents of harassment that occur from other students in writing, electronically, or via paper, or both. But no matter what, be sure to include proof of receipt for that communication before it's sent. Who do they report to? Let's start with both the teacher and the principal. What if a teacher or other school staff member harasses a victim when they're trying to report bullying? Well, your parents or guardians should similarly report that in writing to the teacher themselves, the principal, the superintendent, and the school board. Oh yes, make a stink and document it so that the family can use it as evidence. You see, the law is there to protect citizens from abuse, so sooner or later, the bullies and even the bullies' families can be forced to stop. juvenile detention, even outright prison time, and can even be made to pay money for what's been done. And although the bar to successfully sue a school is pretty high, if it can be proven that the school, by virtue of its staff, violated the Davis test — I've done an entire video playlist series about this — then the school may be held liable and may have to pay too. But if victims don't report abuse and collect all the evidence they possibly can along the way, the abuse will just continue when it doesn't have to. So that's why kids have to tell their parents or guardians, and so that they can, with or without an attorney, stop the insanity of dealing with a bully who is addicted to bullying. This way, whether the school is completely cooperative, but the bullies won't stop anyway, or the school doesn't want to get involved, or anything in between, in one sense, it doesn't matter. The parents can take steps to shut the bullies and even their nasty family members down. And my enemy remedy system shows them how, step by step. Why suffer any longer than you have to, when you can actually teach those trolls a lesson? If you do nothing, things are only going to get worse. If you do something persistently and consistently to fight the bullying onslaught, sooner or later, one way or another, you'll win. Gaining a support system that exists both on the school campus and off of it can keep a bullied kid safer. And when all else fails, it's time to call in the cavalry, meaning having at least one adult who can serve as your advocate with the school system, and if need be, the police and the court system. You can't ignore bullying. It won't go away. Every study and survey shows that avoidance has no upside when it comes to bullying. And I've got a system called the Enemy Remedy that can help you or the ones who love you out big time. So make sure you check out the link down below in this video show notes for more details. I would love to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with a bully who is seemingly addicted to bullying, maybe even bullying everyone in their path? Share down below, and let's have all of the Woman 101 Wise Owls love up on you and give you support. And if you like this content, please remember to support me on Patreon so that I can keep providing new material on a regular basis to help victims of bullying everywhere. Remember, Woman 101 stands for wisdom, turning victims into victors. Be sure to subscribe to this channel and like this video and share this with anyone you know who could use some support. Woman 101, be wise with your heart.